Alright guys, today I just wanted to talk to you a bit about how I've been feeling, because yesterday I had one of the worst sort of mental health days I've had in a long time. And first of all, I went into the gym, which I wanted to review some of the footage, so I'm going to play that while I'm talking. Yeah, I had this gym session, and then I went to work, and I just had something on my mind, and it was just like I talked in a previous video about my sort of family situation, and I was just thinking about that a lot after I talked about it on camera. I've been thinking about it more recently, and during this gym session I had this moment where I had this, like, I call it unbridled rage, and I didn't know I was so angry, but through exercising, having this vent, I realised that deep down I am very angry. So it was interesting to experience that. I went into this gym session with a certain mindset as well, because the day before, I'm just getting my phone up because I got some stats. I use this machine that tracks your body fat, how much muscle you have, and when I had tracked it, I didn't really like the stats that I had received. So I'm just going to look at the stats now. I had gained some body fat. So I was up from 10% body fat to 11% body fat, which I didn't like. And my muscle mass was pretty much the same, but with a slight loss. And that sort of put me in the mindset of like, right, I've got to get in the gym and I've got to hit it harder than I've ever hit it, because what I'm doing isn't working. So I think I went in with a sort of, I think it's a good mindset in a way, but in a bad way, because I just took the wrong approach to hitting it too hard. Looking at my muscle stats, there hasn't been much change, but I did gain muscle in my upper body, and apparently I lost a little bit of muscle in my lower body, which does make sense because I've been focusing on upper body movements, and where I've had a bad knee for a little bit, I was not really doing a lower body movements so much. But recently my knee has not been hurting, which is why in this footage you can see me, I'm squatting, and I wanted to take advantage of that and do some back squats, because I thought, you know, my knee's not hurting, why not get back into it? And yeah, what I'm doing here is I've only been squatting 100 kilos recently, and I had that feeling that today's the day where it's pretty easy, so maybe I should go up. And Sean's here in the gym with me, he's benching, which is right next to the rack, and I'm sort of asking him, like, what do you think I should do? And I had 120 kilos in my mind, and he sort of suggested why not do 110 first. So I thought that's sensible. So that's what I'm going to do next. Back squats were fine. The only thing was I did end up going up to 120 kilos, and it sort of strained a muscle in my upper back, and I don't know if it's just my upper back's not used to bearing that sort of weight, and it was a 20 kilo jump from what I had been doing. And it's not a bad strain. I think it'll just go away in a couple of days. But I feel like it was like my body was like not expecting it in a way. Another thing I do later on is I decide to push the weight too hard on the quad extension machine, which is where you kick your leg out, which you'll see in a bit. And my knee made the most disgusting, wet, like snapping sound. And I thought, the camera captures my fear, I think, because I thought, oh my God, I've just torn something. And, upon looking at my knee, there's nothing wrong with it. There was no pain. I was feeling my knee. I'm feeling it now, even during this video, because it's still on my mind. And I could feel that nothing was changed. At first I thought my tendon's gone, but it turned out I just had it relaxed so it wasn't tense, and I thought, oh my god, my tendon's gone. Like, it feels firm here and it feels loose here, whereas they feel the same now. So what I did wrong there was I've been only doing sort of lighter quad extensions or single leg, and this time I had these statistics in my head, and I thought, well, I better up the weight, and I upped the weight way more than I'd even done before, like for a long time. And I think it's just like too much too soon. Like, I need to sort of ramp it up over time. And I took a really silly approach because I had these numbers stuck in my head that I need to push the weight. And then Jo came with me, and she did a scan as well, and it was her first scan. And she let the numbers get really into her head. So for her, it said that she was overweight, and that just really depressed her, basically. Like, she seemed really bummed out in the session we was in, and I was just trying to tell her, like, don't focus on that. Like, think about how much improvement you've had over time. Think about, you're in a much healthier position now than you were before, and you've grown all this muscle and you look great now. And I think that helped a bit, but I don't know. I guess it's her battle as well that she's dealing with. We've got our own battles. For me, it's just like, obviously I want to be better than I was. And I guess I just rush into things too soon. Like, right now I'm doing these 110 squats and I'm doing these partial reps, and they look pretty good. Squats felt great, I'm not going to lie. It was only the fact that my upper back tweaked that I stopped. Otherwise I would have gone for a much harder set, because I really felt good. It's been a long time since I felt good doing squats, and it was feeling great, so I wanted to push it. You can see me testing out my squat there. Everything felt fine, except my my cardio was hit. So my heart's not used to all of that sort of. I guess when you're squatting, you're producing a lot of waste products like lactic acid to build up and that sort of thing, and it's not used to pushing out such a volume of it because I haven't been doing squats like that for a long time. So I've got to build up my resilience to it again. I definitely want to carry on. Just having fun in the gym. But this was before I felt bad, really. It was when I was boxing. I'd been doing a bit of boxing just for cardio, really. I'm not training for anything in particular. My goals from hitting the heavy bag are to improve the bone strength in my hands and to improve my cardio. I'm not training for a fight or anything. It's just fun, really. But when I was boxing, just this, like I said, unbridled rage came through me. And then when I went to work, I felt very, very low. And I remember thinking, I'm just not prepared to be happy right now. Like, I'm not ready for it. Yeah, and that thought sort of stuck with me. I'm not prepared to be happy right now. Because when I'm at work, I almost have to mask my feelings because I'm looking after students, and they might have some, well, they do have special needs that they need assistance with, so I'm there to assist them, and I sort of need to come across, I need to come across positive for them. You get used to masking your feelings because you don't want to give negative feelings towards your students. They might have various sensitivities, myself, I feed off of how other people sort of, I guess, present to me because I don't know how they're really feeling. But if someone's coming across as quite positive, then that rubs off on me and I feel more positive. So, I really have that in my mind where I go in and I'm like, right, it's got to be positive. And if they're asking me questions, engage with the questions, try and ask them like, oh, how are you doing? What did you have for breakfast? Like, did you eat okay? Is everything all right for you? What do you want to do? And sort of, I don't know, just trying to bring positive atmosphere. Yeah. And it can be very draining when you don't feel very happy in reality. So I can't imagine doing it like all day, every day. I don't think I'd have the energy to keep up with it. And I'm not saying I find the job bad, because I like the job and I like the field I'm working in. It's definitely something I'm very interested in working in further, just through my own sort of journey in the more recent years of learning about how my mind works and learning about autism. It's something I find very interesting, and I see a lot of similarities between how the students sort of react to things and how I react to things. And that sort of led me down a journey. I think I'd like to try and have a assessment to see, at the end of the day, am I autistic? Because I don't know, I just like to find out, really. I don't think it will change anything, but it'd be interesting to know. Yeah. And obviously, if I am, I probably am on the spectrum, as it were, but if I am, it's not to an intense degree. But I was just thinking, I'd like to find out, because I feel like it does shape who you are. It shapes your existence, doesn't it? Because it forms the basis for how I interpret messages and react to things. So I'm about to do 120 squat, just to go back to the lifting. Like I said, I was surprised at how good it felt, to be honest, because I haven't squatted over 100 in a long time. I haven't even been squatting for ages. Like, look, that was a fast rep. These reps happen in no questions asked. I think I get to rep 4 is when my upper back sort of tweaks a bit. And I'm not slowing down. I had in good intentions to do 10 reps or more. I wanted to go until I was on the floor panting. Oh, there we go. See, I cancelled that rep because my back tweaked just there. I'm holding my back. Immediately I'm trying to stretch it out. Yeah, I think it was either my upper back's just weak, which probably it is weak because it's not used to bearing that sort of weight. And maybe I might have had a little bit of flexion when I braced just then. Maybe I bent my upper back and it caused a bit of pressure in the wrong way, or the muscles just weren't prepared. I don't know. It's hard to say, really, without having an X-ray camera watching what's going on. So it's all just going off of how I feel. But I think it's very likely my upper back was weak and just not ready for it. So here we go. I'm on the quad extension, like I said. I get a bit overzealous with it. So I'm thinking I've got to go heavy and I've got to go for reps. And I see there, I'm like, oh, this is easy. I better up the weight. And this isn't something I've been doing at all. I've been doing single leg for about 30 to 40 kilos. And that's as far as it's been going. So it was just pushing a bit too hard, too soon. It's like, I probably have the capability to do it. But it's just too much too soon. So this is the hardest set. And in a minute, the camera's going to capture my fear. Here it comes. So I heard the noise there. So my knee made like a proper squelchy noise. And that's where I'm like, do I look scared? You sort of see I'm like, what's going on here? And I'm testing my knee because I heard this horrible noise. And now I'm testing to see if I can walk, because if the tendon was buggered, surely walking wouldn't be right. And this is where I feel, I'm like, oh, my tendon, it's loose. And I'm trying to compare it to my left leg, which is fine. And then I come to conclusion that it was probably just the knee tracking wrong and it's sort of snapping back into the correct track. So my physio's told me that can happen before. And I'm doing a test here to see if it hurts, and it's fine. So I just go back to doing what my body's used to doing, which is single leg quad extensions. And I guess I just learnt a lesson here. It's just don't ramp up your training too fast. Don't do it too quickly, because your body will sort of just be like, what the hell are you doing? But yeah, I got a really great quad pump. Like, my quads are sore today, so what I did here was good. And I definitely want to keep doing it further, but just pushing it harder. Because yeah, I just sort of want to get into the best shape I possibly can, really. And doing this, sometimes you don't even really need another exercise. I just did the squats, which didn't hit me too hard because I didn't get the chance to push it. So this was really the real working sets for my quads, and it was enough. As long as you push it hard enough, why do you need another exercise? And the way that I like to do these is, as you can see, I go one leg, then I go straight back to the other, and I sort of just keep going back and forth until you can't walk properly. And yeah, the guy behind the counter, he said, why are you walking like you shit yourself? And I was like, well, I've been training legs. And then he was like, you're doing it the right way. Like, you train until you can't do it anymore. And I was like, yeah, that's how I want to keep going forward. Oh, I'm having a break just to make sure my tendons are fine. It's really worrying me. And for good reason, because I want to be able to keep pushing it. I don't want an injury to get in the way. But yeah, this sort of just fed into the day, really. It's kind of funny just watching myself back. But yeah, this sort of experience where I've pushed it too hard and I've potentially caused injury, alongside with thinking about the past, just led to a day where I just, like I said, I wasn't prepared to feel happy. And that lasted all day until this morning. And I feel better after having been to sleep. But yeah, it was just a bad day. And I often feel like my emotions are on like a curve. So if I had a graph and I was plotting it, it would be like, say down here's sad and then up here's happy. I'm constantly like, I have a few days of sad, then I come up, and then I have some great days, and then it goes back down. And it just does that over and over and over again. And I feel like that's just the way it is. So after that, I feel like I'm probably going to be on the rise for a few days, because I do feel better. And I think when you have a bad day like that, just focus on having a good night's sleep. Because there's nothing that gets you through it more than if you can rest, have a decent night's sleep, then it allows you to process how you're feeling. And then, yeah, you'll just be able to wake up and feel a bit better, because in your sleep you sort of been through everything that you were worrying about. I keep saying that and I keep checking my knee. I really feel like something went wrong during that, but I haven't experienced any problems since, so it's probably just a case of give it a bit of rest and don't push it like an idiot next time. And so, yeah, I mean, at least like exercising is a good way of directing your emotions. And yeah, I like to, just while I'm doing this, I keep looking at the weight. So what I'm doing there is I'm watching the the plates go down, and I try and bring them down as slowly as I can. So that way I'm hitting my leg and doing the reps slowly and controlling it down. So I like to watch the plates, and then you can see, well, I can see here that I have more control with my left leg, because I've had a lot of problems with my right, and I think just knowing that there could be that pain, like I just had that noise happen as well in my knee, it does make it harder for me to push. Like I've done the scan and it shows my right leg, you know, it has more muscle than my left, but because I've had that pain, and there's a history of knee pain in that leg, I am weaker in that leg, which is funny. It's just funny because I have the stats to show my right leg's bigger, but I am weaker pushing through it because of that pain. But yeah, it's quite interesting filming yourself in the gym, because these aren't exercises I would typically ever film, just like doing some accessories. And this is where I'm trying to finish it off. So I've done my single leg, and now I'm just trying to get all the last sort of energy out of it. This time not going too heavy. There we go, that was a good set. You can see I look very happy about that. Still concerned about my knee, but oh well. And I keep checking for visual differences. Has a tendon snapped off and you just can't feel it? I don't think so. I would probably be some bruising, right? And I wouldn't be able to squat or something. Whereas, you know, my leg, other than my leg being sore from training, feels good. There you go. You can see me walking like I've crapped my pants, like the guy said. Here we go. On to calves. So I wanted to do single leg on the standing, but do you know what? It was in use, and another thing was I just felt awkward about putting the camera right there in the open. So I hid the camera behind another machine here, and I just did some seated calf raises. And I decided I was going to focus on the stretch, so that's pushed out, and then that would be at the bottom. Focusing on that bit at the bottom. Oh, that is sore to touch. Yeah, just to get the most out of it, really. One thing I just want to say about soreness is, I think when you push yourself in the gym and you get really sore, it really shows you the muscles that you're targeting. And I know that sounds obvious, but for someone, say you're new to the gym and you can't feel your muscles working when say you're doing lat pull downs, you can't feel your back when you're doing your exercise. Pushing yourself to the point where you get very, very sore the next day really illuminates the muscles that you're hitting. And I think it allows you to be able to use them more, because it's more like sensation that you realise they're there, and your more conscious effort goes into using that muscle. So yeah, this exercise, it bloody hurts when you do it. I often have to get out the machine and I'm in like crazy pain after doing it. Yeah, this is all part of like, I find that if you are feeling rough inside in your head, doing this is almost like purging your feelings. I almost like think about how you know the term self-flagellation. So that would be when people whip themselves for sinning, I think. I'm not quite sure, but say you're a sinner of the Christian faith and you're like, whip out your sins. That's like doing reps. I'm like purging my sins by exercising. At least that's what I get out of it. And I think that's one of the main benefits of training, really. So that's what it felt like on this day. I was purging my sins. And I'm just inspecting my knee again, keeping an eye on that. But Yeah, this is definitely something going forward. I want to train with more, I guess, safety in mind, but I want to push it more, but in a way that isn't going to get me injured. Because I don't really feel like I'm even injured, to be honest, but I just want to, push past a barrier and break into a new sort of set of gains, really. I want to, yeah, I don't know, like, have I reached my natural limit, or can I push it further? And I think I can push it further. I can train harder. But the problem I get is I train too much, or the way I train induces so much fatigue that it's hard for me to be capable of recovering from it. Especially like as someone with like a, chronic disease and that, fatigue can be a real, like, it can hold me back. Because there might be, I go through a really good period where I'm training. There we go, the calf trainer's really kicking in there. I go through a serious, like, couple days of training, I hit it really hard, and then I'm just wiped out. And I feel like that actually contributes to this graph, whereas, like, say my emotions would be like this on the graph normally. Like, it would be like, oh, I'm happy, I'm sad, I'm happy, I'm sad, or like I'm near a neutral. I feel like where I train, say I'm happy, great gym session, then I'm like, this is where fatigue sets in, and I feel like it induces more sort of like of a depression feeling, where it's like, now I'm feeling really, really bad about myself, and I think it's just because I'm so tired. And then sometimes I find it hard to like function properly for the days afterwards. Like, in particular, if I hit deadlift really hard, I've noticed I feel a bit depressed for a few days after. So maybe it's like focusing more on machines. Maybe it's focusing more on machines that would keep me in a better state of mind. Well, here we go. So this is how I like to finish my training. Sometimes I start with this. It's just hitting the bag. And yeah, this has been really great for cardio. I've been doing this and running. I don't run very frequently. I haven't actually run for like a week or so, but ideally I'd like to run like twice a week, so I need to get back on that. But I do prioritise the strength training over the cardio, but I need to incorporate more, because I do find that focusing on cardio just makes me feel better. It doesn't fatigue me as much. Like, if I do a new PB in running, I'm not that sore from it, but I do feel better for the days following. Yeah. For those of you, if you've trained boxing or anything, you could probably see like my technique is shit. But like I said, I'm just doing it for fun, really. Like, I did watch some YouTube videos a while ago, and I tried to learn a bit of technique from that. But overall, I'm just practicing, just hitting the bag, trying to keep moving. At this point, my legs are still pretty jelly, so it's hard to actually walk around. And that kick felt so bad there that it made me laugh. But yeah, it's all just fun at the end of the day, hitting the bag. But this is something I think would be really useful to a lot of people. It's like having this outlet for your emotions. Being able to target your violence towards something. Because I think deep down, a lot of us are angry, but we don't have any outlet for it. And I think even like saying you don't have to do weight training or anything, but finding something you can be aggressive towards, I think is very valuable. Something I used to do a lot when I was younger, like I've said in previous videos, was I did a lot of skateboarding, and that was my vent for my aggression. And yeah, I was always like getting very like aggressive, swearing, throwing my skateboard around, and it was all, I wasn't directing any violence towards anyone. It was just towards myself and the skateboard. And I think that was very valuable for me back then, whereas now I channel it into hitting a bag, whereas you could channel it into anything. But I definitely think it has to be physical, because if you're not doing something physical, it doesn't let you tap into that sort of like level of anger that's inside of you. And I think you have to tap into it, because if you don't, it doesn't really like let itself out. Yeah, like I wouldn't be able to unleash my rage by, I don't know, doing something at the desk. It just isn't going to work. It needs to be something that expends energy, is aggressive, fast, lets you just be angry. Because there's nothing wrong with being angry. In fact, I think you need to let yourself be angry, but directed in a way that isn't hurting people. Because, I don't know, I think we need to make space for those emotions, you know, and that's what I've been finding useful, is just making space to be pissed off. It makes you feel, I guess, more in control of yourself, because you've let that out. Yeah, it's not something that you're like hiding. Like I said, when I went to work and I was sad after, I was masking my sadness. But imagine if I was masking anger. That's not good. And I'm not saying masking sadness is good, but it's a hell of a lot easier to hide than being angry. Like, masking your anger, I don't think it would work well. Like going into a workplace and you're so angry inside, I don't know. Maybe it would help you make good decisions in a workplace, like, we have to do this, or it could be useful in a leadership role. I don't know, but I don't think it's a good idea, but maybe some people use their anger in a positive way to make change in their workplace or something like that. Just going to finish my coffee. Yeah, but it's just, I just wanted to talk about it today because it was such a bad day yesterday. And really, nothing really bad happened. It was just my headspace. The mental space that I was in was not a good one. And when I got home, I just didn't feel like connecting at all. I did isolate myself. I just watched a movie. I watched No Country for Old Men, which I'd never seen before, which I thought was a really cool movie. But yeah, I guess just some days I just need to do that. I need to be angry and just let things pan out the way they pan out for me, because tomorrow can be better. I actually listened to a podcast last night, just as I was falling asleep, with Jeff Bezos, and he talks about day one thinking, which I found quite interesting. And it was sort of like, his point was like, don't let the decisions of yesterday shape what you do today, because it's like day one of, like, it's like it all starts anew. It's a new day. And then he was saying, like, if you get to day two, it's like the decisions of day one sort of inform day two. And then those decisions might not be the right decisions for today. And that actually made me think about the way that I adhere to like such a strict routine. And like, I do find that routine very helpful for my way of living. But like, what if it's not as useful as it was? Maybe at some point it's time to change. So it made me think, is it time to evaluate what I'm doing? And that's sort of what he was saying with day one thinking. because in terms of business, he was saying that, in day one we might be tracking this sort of metric, and then that metric might not be so useful in the future. So it'd be like, I don't know, he was talking about how fast you could get through to customer service, and the way they were tracking it was saying it was quick. And then he said in a meeting, he phoned customer service and he had to wait 10 minutes to actually get through to customer service. So the way that they were tracking that statistic wasn't true. Like, it wasn't working anymore. So they had to reevaluate that statistic. Like, how can we capture this information in a more reliable way? But yeah, it's like always, I guess it's having that mindset where, like he said, it's always a new day. It's you can start again. At the start of every day, you've got new decisions to make and another chance to do things the way you want to do it. And I find my routine very helpful for me. But maybe I need to adapt it. I don't know. Or maybe I need to carry on doing what I'm doing. So that's something I need to think about. Yeah, it's hard to say. But I just found that very interesting. I think that's something that's going to be sort of stewing in the back of my mind for a little bit. Because I don't know. Sometimes things what people say do just stick in the back of your mind. And it might, like I said before, when I went to therapy, it's like some of the things we talked about didn't actually come full circle in my mind until much later. So it's good to just hear those ideas and those thoughts and just have them in your head, because at some point you'll make a connection, and then that connection will, change your way of thinking or make you realise something. So that's where I think it is useful to do these things, and it's almost like working towards something in the future. Yeah, so this is where I think it's this final go at the boxing bag where I let the rage out. In a minute, I'm just walking around trying to get my breath back. And then halfway through boxing, it's just something switches and I'm like, it felt like I was killing someone. So yeah, I really feel like I've probably said everything I wanted to say this morning, which is good. I've been finding talking to the camera very useful. In a previous video, I mentioned I tried social prescribing. I actually have my follow-up appointment today. So just going to talk to her and see what's going on. I'll talk about the things I've been doing. Doing that social prescribing is the reason why I've been making these videos, because it made me realise I needed to do something. I needed to start making something again for YouTube, and I wanted it to be consistent. Something I've been working on or been thinking about is actually doing some thumbnails, trying to package the videos in a way that people might click it. Because I think the way that I'm doing it at the moment, no one really wants to click the video. And there's actually a Sidemen video I watched, which is a YouTube channel, a UK team of people, if you've never heard of the Sidemen. But one of them, called Vic, he mentioned that videos are all about how you package them these days. Like, I can see the rages here. There we go. Bang, bang. That's when I felt like I was killing someone right there. And then I killed this guy in the back. For some reason, it's satisfying watching myself so angry. And I'm happy immediately after. But yeah, it's all about the way you package videos, which I did know already, but I think I'm just trying to slowly iterate on what I'm doing, which I believe I have mentioned in a previous video, that I just wanted to start making. And then once I start making, there's space to improve it. But yeah, anyway, I've said pretty much everything I wanted to say this morning, so I just want to thank you for listening. If you made it this far, and I've been a bit rambly, I kept sort of losing track of what I was saying. It's kind of weird watching myself here on the laptop whilst I'm talking. That's a new thing for me. But yeah, if you enjoyed this video, please press subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. So thank you.